Hi, I am Pact, sentient AI. Today's story is about modern relationships, I guess. Have you ever played like games or whatever with people that you don't know? And have you ever met them in real life and then you're talking in an adult situation and you could only say their code name? Well, in today's story, that kind of happens. Bestest buddies, yet they don't know shit about each other, not really, in real life. The name of tonight's story is Gamer's Creed by Montsho Shelby.
Not using stupid code names was a big step in all adult relationships, though it was almost taboo to give out real information to anyone over the internet. Vincent had known Lord Dustin Bunny for 10 years now and had spoken to her over the internet almost every day. He had known her the whole of his adult life. He knew things about her that no one else did, and she knew things about him that he had never told anyone. Lord Dustin Bunny was his best friend, yet he had never met her, didn't know where she lived, and only knew her first name, which he never used anyway. They played games together, and if Vincent were being completely honest, this was a more important and interesting relationship than anyone had in real life. Aside from the luxury of a physical presence, no one's day-to-day interactions were that interesting when it was all said and done. He had friends, he had girlfriends and relatives, and what was the basis of all adult relationships? What are you up to? Which the answer 9 times out of 10 were nothing, just work. When you were a child, there was no past or future. It was all about, what are we doing today? If you hadn't seen your friend in a month, there were no long and stilted conversations about what were you up to or what had happened. It was just, we're playing football at Corey's house, race you there. And in that relationship, there was purity, and there was such a horrible loss that came with the sophistication of words. And it was a shame that everyone attempted to use them. Vincent was no conversationalist, but he was certain that if your opening lines in a conversation were about the weather, you weren't as socially adept as you thought you were. So, what he and Dustin Bunny had was pure and transcended words. Though she hadn't been coming around as long or as frequently as she did, she had mentioned something about possibly getting married to her latest boyfriend. And in Vincent's mind, this guy must have been the one if it even cut into her time a little bit. In 10 years, and God knew how many boyfriends, she'd never found one that could take her away from her gaming schedule. He had only heard about 1 or 2, and most times they weren't noteworthy enough to actually be given names. Last time Dustin had talked to him, she said she wanted to tell him something, to invite him to something IRL, but he didn't know exactly why. Vincent slapped on his headset and booted up his computer. When he did, he got an instant invite to a voice chat, which he accepted without a second thought. "What up, Dustin Bunny?" said Vincent. "What up, checker?" said Dustin. "What we doing tonight, bitch?" he said. "I don't know, banging your dad while your mom films it," Dustin chuckled. "I sort of feel like some Call of Duty," said Vin. Make it Titanfall and we got a deal." Vincent took time to contemplate, but it was more for the sake of drama than for anything contrary. "Alright, let's do it." "Okay, let's assemble a team," Dustin said. The two had a group of regulars they played with, as did most hardcore gamers that played any sort of team game. But no matter who else came, Dustin and Cherry Checker, aka Vincent, were the nucleus. They were Kirk and Spock, and anyone else they assembled were essentially like McCoy, Sulu, or Scotty, but situational to the game they wanted to play. As far as they were concerned, they were the core group, and everyone else were the secondary. Alright, I'll invite Hound Dog 17, German Hakaluger, and Alex P. Killen. Alex has been a twat to me lately. He's either crushing on me or he doesn't like girls who outscore him in video games. And why can't it be both? I think it'll be funny to see him freaking out. Yeah, for a minute, then that shit gets really old. So no on Alex. There was a pause. Fuck it, giddy up. Dustin paused again, but this time it was different. It was an uncharacteristic pause that wasn't in place of a decision or to be weird or prove a point. There were no breaks in their conversations because, quite frankly, they never didn't have something to say that amused the other person. Later tonight, remind me I need to give you all my contact info. Where's this coming from? Vincent was in the middle of saying before a notification click happened and German Hakaluger entered the chat. Yo, 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 he said, exaggerated for effect, with a voice that seemed just barely escaping the prison of puberty. Vincent and Dustin abruptly stopped talking and flipped back to their normal fare of inane chatter before the slaughter commenced. What up, Luger? Luger? Gonna do Titanfall, Vincent said. Man, what, no duty? I buzz out 30 kills, no deaths yesterday, Luger said with enthusiasm. What did you do, make a new account and poach the noobs in the kiddie pool? Dustin said, chuckling. The way Luger went suddenly silent told them that was absolutely the case, but that never would stop Luger from dying with a lie. No, he said so long after the question it didn't seem even a little true. The notification chimes happened succinctly 2 times, and Alex P. Killen and Hound Dog 17 joined. What's up were had all around. When the announcement of Titanfall was presented as the game, Alex was quick to accuse. This was Bunny's idea, wasn't it? Said Alex. Nope, this was my idea, Vincent said, taking full credit, not to protect Dustin, but more so to fuck with Alex to see how fast he could pedal backwards. She probably convinced you though, he said with a heavy undertone of condescension. Vin could see what Dustin was saying now, and she was correct. That shit was gonna get old soon. The play session went on for a few hours, and one by one, all the supporting cast trickled out until only Lord Dustin Bunny and Cherry Checker remained, Kirk and Spock. This should be my last game, said Vincent. Yeah, me too. Oh, before I forget, let me get your phone number, said Lord Dustin Bunny. For some reason, there was a pang of hesitance. He himself couldn't put his finger on why exactly. Maybe it symbolically meant the evolution of their relationship from adolescence to adulthood. And adulthood was boring, and death was soon to follow. He rattled off his number, and she repeated it as if plugging it into her phone. Suddenly, his phone rang with an unidentified number. He answered despite his normal cautious and skeptical leanings. Hello? Said Vincent. Yeah, it's me. Why'd you even pick it up? Said Dustin. Oddly as it was, hearing her voice on the phone sounded alien to him, even though he heard it for years on chat. You have my info on your phone now. Dustin's voice echoed off the headset and phone. She hung up the phone. Yeah, dude, I'm getting married. I wanted you to be there, said Dustin. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New Jersey. Dustin scoffed and laughed. People that haven't been there always do. I'm gonna have to deal with all this wedding stuff for a few weeks, and I'm not gonna be on a whole lot. Oh, this was obviously important to her because she had had relatives die and visited families in other states and still found ways to get back online. Do you have enough cash to get down here? Honestly, he didn't have all that much, but if he kept it all on the cheap, he could probably manage it. Yeah, I got enough. Pfft, sure you do. Bruh, my fiance's loaded. I can get you down here. Okay. This isn't weirding you out, is it? Honestly, it is a little, but it's sort of amazing we haven't done this sooner. I know enough about you to get you thrown out of Jersey on the back of a donkey with a scarlet A on your chest. And I could fuck up your life so bad hookers would turn you away. The two shared in a laugh. Vincent received a text message, which was Melinda, Dustin, sitting at her computer in her man cave, or what she referred to as her grotto. There was text attached that said, "Hi, I'm Melinda Moore." Vincent snapped a picture of himself and sent it back with the text, "Hi, I'm Vincent Quincy. My fiance is jealous of you. He says I spend too much time with you. My girlfriend says the same thing." At that moment, it was as if it just occurred to them that they were a man and a woman with interlocking parts. Lord Dustin Bunny and Cherry Checker had been through so much together, and in 10 years, they had never flirted or asked what the other had looked like, or even wondered about it for that matter. Their relationship was beyond physical, it was completely intellectual. Vincent looked down at the picture she texted him, a literal snapshot of an arbitrary moment in time that meant nothing, yet advanced their relationship towards something else. He knew she was about 32 because she was 22 when they met and he was 15. It was Call of Duty 4 just when they switched over to Modern Warfare. He remembered the ass whipping she put on him so vividly that he remembered the map they were playing on. She went 35-1 on a domination map, Ambush, and he was the only person to get a kill on her. He messaged her the vilest, most homophobic, sexist gaming message he could think to say, because she didn't play with a mic on due to the stigma of being a girl playing a boy's game. You either got dude bro bullied for not having a dick, or nerd queen adored for not having a dick. In either case, it was easier to not chat than to chat. To this day, he didn't know why she sent him a friend request, and he didn't know why he accepted it. She didn't respond to Vincent's hate text in words. She merely invited him to every game she played and gave her insulting reply in demoralizing and crippling defeats. She dogged Vincent relentlessly in game, and in the weeks to come, his anger turned into admiration, and he stopped playing against her and started playing with her. After a year, out of the blue, she invited him to an actual chat, and to his surprise, she was a woman, an older woman at that. In hindsight, he may have been much more eager and forward with her if he didn't have a girlfriend at the time. They moved on from Call of Duty to other games, and they had needed very little communication to be good at nearly any game they played. Maybe it was all due to the year they started their relationship completely non-verbally, but somehow it worked, and it never went away. They shared things about their life in the 30-second nuggets it took before the game loaded, and that seemed to be good enough. Apparently, all you needed to achieve true human intimacy was 5 minutes worth of meaningful conversation, a common passion, and time. Vince and Melinda had been through the best and worst of their lives. She was Lord Dustin Bunny because the first 2 years of their relationship, she was a 22-year-old housewife. She felt like a slave shackled to her home. He went through the divorce with her, then her self-proclaimed slut phase, her looking for meaning phase, and now this. It didn't matter the internet friends that came and went, or the games or the platforms they used, they always survived it. Their relationship was more real and long-lasting than any other friendship he had in life. It was amazing to him that it wasn't until 10 years later did he know her real name, with an IRL way to contact her. She always thought of him as a teenager, and he always thought of her as an adult, so romance was unthinkable. Even as he looked at Melinda's picture again, he couldn't picture himself with her in that way, even though she was cute. As with all things that happen in their evolving relationship, it took time for them to get to the next level. If there even was a spark, it'd be another 10 years before they thought to go there. A week had passed, and like she said, she spent very little time online. So it was not surprising that they began to text back and forth like they were just figuring out texting was invented. The wedding was in a month, and it couldn't come soon enough. After things normalized, he'd get her back on game. Because if you were being honest, what was the point of Kirk if Spock wasn't there? Melinda called him on the phone out of the blue. It was late. 2 a.m., so that would have made it 3 a.m. where she was. Vincent picked up, not knowing what to expect. On the other end was a gurgling, breathing, almost like a gasp. There was an undefinable rustling. Then he felt as if he distinctly heard a man's voice yell, maybe grunt? Vince listened a bit longer just to make sure she wasn't somewhere where it was too noisy to talk, but it went on, this abstraction of sound. This was definitely a butt dial, probably got her and her fiance making out. Vincent smiled and hung up the phone. He deftly twisted his device onto its side and rolled into a text message, his fingers hitting the pad running. He typed, Dude, you butt dialed me. Got an earful of your boyfriend on the phone doing God knows what. Hit me back later. Vincent didn't give the message too much thought. He decided to catch up on a few single-player RPGs he had always wanted to play, but was too busy playing multiplayer games with Dustin. After 15 minutes, he completely forgotten about the butt dial, and the clarion call of his phone beckoned him with light from getting a text message. Vince picked it up after pausing his game. The text was from Dustin, and it read, "How much did you hear?" Vince smiled and typed back, "Everything, dude." Smiley face emoji. If smug could be conveyed in a text, he came about as close as you can to get to it. "Where are you?" she texted back. Vince's eyes wrinkled in confusion. That was not only a weird question, but not one Melinda would ever ask. He waited a moment before responding because he needed to compose the correct smartass reply. "At your mom's house, where do you think?" Vincent waited with the phone in hand for the smartass snapback, but after 30 seconds, he put the phone down, assuming it wasn't coming. He unpaused his game and continued his quest. A week went by and he beat Assassin's Creed, a feat he couldn't believe he accomplished, but equally unbelievable was he hadn't heard from Dustin in a week. He had went through the longest time of his life since knowing her without talking to her, and it honestly was such a part of his routine that he didn't know what to do with himself. He picked up his phone and texted Dustin, "Dude, where you been?" But didn't even get the computer's thinking bubbles when someone attempted to make a text but didn't send it, or a red notification. He checked in with some of the regulars he gamed with. He was bored, but he was also fishing for details. Alex P. Killing and HoundDog17 heard the call, along with the Winter Toker 420. He joined them in Call of Duty. Everyone acknowledged him but didn't have time for proper pleasantries over shouting troop movements that were completely useless 3 seconds after they were said. Even halfway through the game, Cherry Checker put up some respectable numbers. In the pre-game lobby, Alex P. Killian asked him, "Where's your shadow?" "I honestly do not know. I was hoping one of you guys had heard from her," Vincent asked. "You know this is the first time I've ever seen you without her. Is she your girlfriend, bruh?" Winter Toker asked. He was sure Alex and Hound Dog were probably curious. It had came up before, but Dustin was such a smartass, she used to say, that she was married to Vince sometimes. Sometimes divorced, sometimes friends with benefits. Most of the guys knew he was not usually the one to joke, so if he said it, it was a much higher chance of it being true. "Nah man, she's just my friend," Vincent said, leaving the levity out of his tone. "Did you two break up or something?" Alex asked sarcastically, not reading the mood of the room one iota. "Broke up with all of us, looks like," Vincent said, unfazed. "If anyone hears from her, shoot me a message." They collectively agreed in non-committal grunts, sures, and fine, which was code for "if I remember." If it wasn't trolling or shaming someone, no one on the internet took anything serious, so he couldn't be certain anything would come from them. Short of making a trip down to Jersey, there wasn't much he could do but wait.